Welcome back. It is time for our final video of building our playbook, and today we're going to address those handful of situations you need to be prepared for as you go into a game.
We're not going to get a second chance in the game.
Welcome back, all you coaches that have been following along, learning how to build our offensive playbook here. And we've used the I formation, like a power-based I formation. But I really think you can take this video and say, okay, I'm going to follow these steps for building my offense and then build it in my own way, right? Whatever formation I choose as my favorite or whatever play I choose as my favorite off-tackle play. But this can be a great resource for you as you build your offensive playbook for the first time. Today we're going to address those couple of situations that you need to have ready as you go into a game. You don't use them all in every game, but you've got to have them ready. Before I jump in, I want to give a huge shout out to our newest members since our last video, Jeffrey, Mitch, and Coach Big. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. And of course, that goes out to the rest of you members as well. Hey, members, I'm counting on you. Reach out to us. Leave comments in these videos. What do you want our next webinar to be on? Tons of content available if you want to join, and even more on the way here as 2025 gets rolling. We hope you'll check us out. Back to our whiteboard. Here we go. Over to our whiteboard. I better get into editing mode. These are the situations we need to cover. We need to make sure we have a plan for short yardage. This is the one that probably does come up in every game. For me, this is, I may go to this in 4th and inches out in the middle of the field. I personally don't use my short yardage plan a lot in the middle of the field, but once in a while. And then almost always we get to our short yardage plan inside the 5. Once we're inside the 5, I think it's a great idea to have a plan because teams don't have to defend the whole field anymore because there's only 15 yards left, right? I'm inside the 5. I've got what's left to the goal line plus the 10 yards of the end zone itself. Teams get to pack it in because a deep ball is no longer a threat. So they get to be more aggressive, which means more run-through lanes, more blitzing linebackers, and we want to have a plan for that. I think it's a must to have that 2-point conversion play in your back pocket, and you save it for a game winner when you need it to win the game. You should always consider what you're going to do in a 2-minute situation, and last but not least, that Hail Mary, where it's truly the last play of the game. So let's go ahead and just dive in. I should probably do it in the order of how often it's used. So I should go short yardage is going to get used most, then 2-minute, then 2-point conversion for the win, and a Hail Mary. So I'm going to just give you ideas. You can do whatever you want, but these situations need to be addressed. You have to have a plan. The easiest thing for short yardage, in my opinion, I made a whole video about it. If you want to check that out, I would do so. Maybe I'll try to link it down below. That's your short yardage offense. But the best thing, in my opinion, when you get inside the 5 is tighten your splits. So if we used to have 2-foot splits, 2 foot in between the outside foot of one lineman and the inside foot of the next, we're going to cut that down to, let's say, 6 inches by default. So everything's tighter. And then I am going to take out a receiver, usually my second best receiver. My best receiver is going to stay. He's a threat, and I'm going to bring in a different guy. So let's name this guy Jay for Jumbo. Okay, so I'm going to bring in that guy. Now, my jumbo, for me, it's usually another lineman. I know what's my best play. My best play is power in this playbook. So this is the guard that always pulls on power. So I'm going to take the guard that usually pulls on power, and let's color him blue for the sake of this video. And I'm going to move that jumbo guy. He's going to replace him. And he's going to replace him because I want to run power, but I don't want to pull anybody because I can't afford to have this hole in my line on the goal line because there's too many threats of blitzing linebackers. And if anything, I don't want to lose yardage. So I'm going to replace him with my jumbo man, and he's going to just backside scoop, which means cut off all penetration right here. He's cutting off penetration in the B gap, and my jumbo is cutting off penetration in the A gap. Now I'm going to move this guard that usually pulls And I might just put him here behind the jumbo. I'm probably going to move him right here front side, play side behind the guard. He'll almost look like another running back, but I'll even put his hand on the ground. And now we're going to run our best play, which is power. We're going to block it the way we always do. And my backside guard is going to pull the way he always does, and his job is the same. He's going to get up into here while my fullback kicks. So all things are the same. It's my best play. If I get myself first and goal inside the 5, I'm going to run this twice. I'm going to go jumbo and run power. Then maybe the second time I might just show something different. Like let's say I'll go X over jumbo. It looks a little different. And I'm running power again. Like, I'm going to run my best play a couple times, most likely. Right? That doesn't mean I'm going to do that every time, but I'm highly likely to run my best play a couple times. I got 4 downs, and I'm going to do what I'm best at. And we're going to just try to hammer this thing into the end zone. If it doesn't work, that third play might show this same look and then QB wedge. We are just going to be conservative, and we're going to pound the rock. So what I like about this short yardage plan is this is not an expensive install. I don't need special plays. I'm going to rep this a couple times and make sure that my guard and my jumbo know how we block this. Because at the end of the day, it's our best play. We run this on repeat all the time, right, throughout almost every practice of the day. So we're good at this. So there's my short yardage plan. Now I have a short yardage plan. You should have one too. All right, let's move on to a 2-minute offense. Now, don't get carried away here. You don't need to invent a brand new offense. You don't need to be able to, you don't have to go to a hurry up, no huddle system just so that you're good in the 2-minute offense. What you'll find in 2-minute offense, meaning it's the end of the game or the end of a half and you don't have a ton of time, but you'd like to try to score. Your best bet is to run your offense, but know that usually in most 2-minute situations, you just need a way to call in a couple plays without a huddle. You don't need to be able to call your whole offense without a huddle, just a couple. And you need your kids aware of here's how we spike the ball. And we need to be aware of getting out of bounds. Right? So you practice your 2-minute situation with the kids. We usually would practice it on Thursdays. But what we're practicing is be aware of when we need you to not huddle and hustle to the line of scrimmage, usually to spike the ball, or we might run 1 to 3 of our best plays. And be aware, get out of bounds when you can. Because we're going to get the clock stopped a good amount of time. And so when we get it stopped, we can go right back to our huddle. So let's put ourselves in a 2-minute situation. It's 2-minute situation. I'm going to go ahead and say I need a code word for 3 plays. I'm going to need a code word for my quick game, okay? And if maybe you've numbered your quick game and you usually call it from the huddle, you could shout those numbers out and the kids will be able to run it. So I need to be able to run my hitch and my fade, and I need to be able to just call that out and my kids know it. Okay, so now the first play from a 2-minute situation is going to come from the huddle. So we come from the huddle and we run a play, and it works, and we get a first down. The clock's not stopped. All right, so we have our signal, and this means on the ball, on the ball, on the ball. So, of course, we're practicing that. Fellas, on the ball, on the ball, on the ball. It means do not huddle. They're hustling up, and they're getting on the ball. And now we're going to yell out whatever our number is for that hitch or the fade, whatever one we're deciding to throw. You know, for me, most often it's going to be a hitch. Throw a hitch, let that kid get what he can and get out of bounds. Now, he got out of bounds. You can huddle again. Hey, let's huddle. We know it's a 2-minute situation, but the clock stopped. Let's get back in our huddle. Let's say we call power, and then it's on the ball, on the ball, on the ball. Now we're going to spike it. So what's your signal for spike it? Okay, you have your own signal. Spike it, spike it, spike it. Hey, on the ball, on the ball, on the ball. We're spiking, we're spiking. Whatever your code word is for that. Snap the ball, spike it. Guess what? Clock stopped. Okay, we can get back in our huddle. Notice I don't have to have a code word. I don't need to be able to call my entire offense from the line of scrimmage. I need a couple things. I would recommend being able to call your best play from on the line of scrimmage. So have one code word when in 2-minute situations, the kids know on the ball, on the ball, on the ball. Super. That's my first word that came to mind. Super. We call super. We're running our play. We're super at. We're super good at this play. When I call super, we run it. So I can run my best play. I can run hitch and fade. That's enough, right? If you got older kids and super smart, you could always add more and be able to call more, but you're just not going to need that much. You need to be able to spike it, run your best play, and throw a quick hitch or something and get out of bounds. And then really when you practice your 2-minute situation, you're practicing being aware. Get on the ball. Do not huddle. Here's when you do huddle. We got to get out of bounds. So it was self-explanatory stuff. But again, I don't need a magical new offense. And sometimes you're going to score at the end of the half and sometimes you're not. You look at college offenses, pro offenses, they're amazing at 2-minute offenses. But even for them, sometimes they score and sometimes they don't. It's just not, you can't build something that's always going to work in a 2-minute situation. So don't get carried away. Okay, 2-point conversion. I need to have a 2-point conversion plan. And again, you don't just go out and use this. You're saving this. You might run it 1 time or fewer on the year. You're going to rep it maybe once a week, maybe once a day. You're going to say, we need to have a plan. What is our 2-point conversion play when the game is on the line? Whatever that is. So we'll just give an example. Like the 2-point conversion play, not even 2-point conversion, short yardage play that you'll see the most at the college level is going to be like they'll go double tight, maybe even another back in the backfield. Let's do something like this. And they're just going to run power pass, right? We're good at power. So we show power, and he slips out to the flat. And this man goes to the back of the end zone. Okay? And then you've always got this man, and he wants to kind of settle in. Let's settle him in. I'm going to put an arrow downward. He wants to settle in right about over where that first tight end started, right? Reverse out. We're going to say that's a block. Sorry, I didn't go back to get my arrow play. Reverse out, show power, and he's just going to look for this guy in the flat. Now, again, if this was a regular part of your offense, yeah, teams would be ready for this. But we're saving this. We want this in that 2-point conversion play for the win. We show something that the other team hasn't seen. There's 3 yards away. We're good at power. They got to honor it. Again, this is just an example, but you should have a 2-point conversion play. And the older your kids are, maybe you carry 2 of these. If I coach in the college game and I know overtime could come down to this, well, maybe I carry 5 or 6 of these great 2-point conversion plays. Okay, but you got to have a plan. What are we going to do with that 2-point conversion play for the win? I always say that. It's got to be for the win. We need it for the win. That's when we're going to break it out. And last but not least, you need that last play of the half situation. Now, this last play of the half situation, let's get ourselves back to just plain old pro I have had years where we would practice this once a day, and I have literally never used this, never ever in my 23-year career used the Hail Mary situation play, ever. Okay, but I do still think it's a good idea to have it. Okay, so let's start with Hail Mary. We're within throwing distance of the goal line. I don't need some magical thing. Let's just get both of our receivers on the same side. We are going to max protect. So all these guys are in the pass pro that I've drawn up as my favorite one, right? Way back a couple of videos. We're in our best pass pro. We're going to leave our tight end in, and he's going to block as well. The fullback he has his pass protection, and then our halfback is going to check here to the weak side. And if nothing at all shows, he can begin to leak out late. He's like a check down if the quarterback has nothing or gets in trouble. And then these two are literally just running vertical. They're trying to get to the end zone. The quarterback is going to drop back and buy as much time as he can. And he's going to heave it and throw it in the area of them. And these guys are trying to make something happen. It's the last play. Just sending up a prayer. And then once in a while, I don't even think it's a great idea. It happens once every 10 years. You'll need this situation where it's the last play of the game and you need to make something happen. So you started off with a little curl route here, and everybody else, you play the catch it and pitch it game. We catch it and everybody else is following. And now all my skill players, even my linemen, we practice it. You can even do it to have fun at the end of a practice. And it could just be your fun way to end practices. And you get to practice it once a day. You catch it and you pitch it and you try to keep the ball alive as long as you can because you need a miracle to try to score. All right. Well, it was not a complex day, but an important day for finishing off our playbook and saying, I now have a complete offensive plan that I can take into battle. Thank you guys so much for joining. Be sure to like and subscribe. Share this. If you're not a youth coach, share it with your youth coaches. And if you are a youth coach, continue to check in and use all the resources we have. You get yourself started, and then the longer you coach, the deeper you want to dive. So be sure to eventually dive into our library. All right, chime in what you want the next subject to be, but either way, I'll be back here next week talking football.